Welcome back to the Give and Go. I'm your coach Reynoso here with my boy
Soltero. What's up, y'all?
Folks, we have returned. We are back after what was essentially a month-long break.
What happened, man?
You tell me, bro.
No, I'm a little upset, bro. I'm at least a little upset.
We had a lot happen, bro. I got a whole book of notes here. I mean, I could just touch on things that happened, man. The Atleti Barcelona game today. Liverpool losing the Carabao Cup final.
R.I.P.
Messi was in Jamaica.
Messi was in Jamaica, actually.
Messi was in Jamaica.
And he scored.
Neymar gets injured again.
Yeah.
You know, Rafinha continuing his incredible form. Julian Alvarez, did he touch it 2 times? We'll find out. Ballon d'Or race has shifted. Villa is in the quarters of the Champions League.
Villa is in the quarters, and I'm actually very happy with that.
PSG looked like the best PSG side we've ever seen, at least in the past 10 years.
No Mbappe, no Neymar, no Messi. Best PSG ever.
Folks, where have we been? That's the question that a lot of people have been asking. We appreciate all the DMs. I saw people even reached out on my personal Instagram asking me, Reynoso, are you okay? Concerned for my health, man. The Give and Go fans are very loyal to the show, and we truly do appreciate that. It's been a busy, crazy time behind the scenes. I just got engaged. You just got tatted up.
Yeah, I got a nice little tattoo. Goes all the way down. You know, you can see it. Looks pretty cool, man.
We took a few trips, and honestly, it was a great break, man. A great break just to feel reset and what's going to be a crazy build-up to the World Cup, man. From here on out, I think it's going to be consistent content no matter what. And so I just want to say thanks to the fans for being patient. I know that it was sudden, that it kind of came out of nowhere, but I'm feeling very refreshed.
Same.
I'm feeling ready to talk to these fans. And I feel ready to face the truth, because prior to our break, I was feeling amazing, man. I was having the time.
Yeah, man.
I was having the time of my life on this pod, bro.
A lot happens in a month.
A lot
happens.
Who's had a worse week? You or me?
Definitely you.
Me?
Definitely.
I'm at least winning a Premier League, man. For Atleti was do or die, basically, man. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
It's been a tough time, and it's funny that it ultimately ends up being on the 2 teams that we support the most, Atletico Madrid and Liverpool. I mean, let's catch up, bro. Let's catch up on what went down. Should we start with the match today, Atleti Barcelona, or should we start with the Carabao Cup loss? Should we start with Liverpool PSG? Julian Alvarez, did he touch it 2 times, bro?
Let's start with Atleti, because I would have bet the house. I would have bet my car. I would have bet this show. I would have bet this show, bro, without anyone's permission, that Atletico would have won when they went up 2-0. I really thought that we were at the Metropolitana. Yeah. It was all set. We had already beaten Barcelona a couple months ago. We had already proven that Barca can't beat us this season in La Liga. This was the biggest match of Atletico as far as La Liga was concerned. We get the 3 points here. Still a lot of work to be done, but it would have really helped us out as far as title contention. So when we went up 2-0, man, I thought it was over. Our defense has been immaculate. We proved that in the Champions League, that it was good enough to take Madrid all the way to penalties. We'll do a little bit more deep dive in that later. But Atletico's defense, it's the best in Spain, and it's one of the best in Europe. So when we go up with just 1 goal, I feel really good. When we go up 2, I consider it done. Yeah. And Barca knocked 4 past us. It was a crumble, a demolition that I just haven't seen of Atletico this season. But when you look at the entire game, when you look at the entire season, this is what Barcelona possess, man. I mean, the weapons that they have, Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, what a goal that he scored as well. Rafinha, what a whipping ball to Ferran Torres to get a glancing header to put it past Oblak. Barcelona have massive game changers at their side, whereas Atletico, we have to work really hard for our goals. I think it's completely deserved for Barcelona, man, and it's got to be one of their best victories of the season, stealing this on the road against Atletico.
Yeah, how did you feel with that Atletico second goal? Was there not a handball in the build-up?
Yeah, that was weird.
That was weird.
That was like really weird.
Football gods were in Atletico's favor when they saw that the Paul's hand touched the ball, in my opinion, should have been rescinded. They still give the goal. They go up 2-0 with Sorla scoring a nice finish there. Yeah. I thought it was over, man. Yes. I really did, because first half, Barcelona did not look the way that they did in that second half. But Barcelona, man, what a team. One of the most high-scoring teams I think I've ever seen now. Now that we're this deep into the season, They do this routinely, bro. 3, 4, 5 goals, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
You got Ferran Torres getting on the board. You got Lamine Yamal scoring essentially the game winner. Though deflected, it was his aggressiveness on the offensive end that caused that third goal. And it goes past Oblak to win 3-2. And then that final minute game winner 4-2. It's a massive victory for Barcelona in the league specifically because it completely changes their situation from going down 2-0 and losing out on getting a single point here to getting all 3 points. It's massive, bro. And
huge.
I think for Atleti, I do think it's a little bit of a ultimately hangover from what was a very intense game midweek against Real Madrid. Most of those goals came later in the match, that third one specifically. I feel like that played a big role in why ultimately Barca was able to pounce on them and take advantage over a course of 90 minutes.
Yeah, I will question Simeone's decision to take off Alvarez. I get it. We had just played a huge game at the week. But this is a final of La Liga essentially for Atletico. You just got to keep your best players out there. Alvarez coming off, I think, just gives away a lot of energy for Atletico because, yes, he does a lot of running up top, but, dude, he tracks back. He's probably one of the most defensive strikers in the game. It's crazy how many goals he gets, but he provides so much running for this Atleti side. I was surprised that he came off, man. I really was. And honestly, as soon as he came off, that's when we conceded. Mm-hmm. And then we, second goal, third goal, fourth goal. It's really tough on Atleti, but I think Barcelona they didn't give up and they used their star power at their advantage as Atletico just got really tired in the final 20.
Is the opportunity to win the league done here for Atletico? It's a massive 3 points lost at home. Is this what decides their chances in the title race? Because, man, things were looking good when they were up 2-0.
Yeah, it's looking insane, man. I think the chance is still there, but I've never considered Atletico title winners this year. So my decision on them still stands. Because when you look at this game, man, it's the same things that's happening over and over again. Barcelona get distracted because they're attacking too much, and they get caught out and they concede. And Atletico just absorb, wait till their opponent gets lost of focus, and then they just attack. That's how we went up 2-0. But then Barcelona, they have Lewandowski, Rafinha. They come through big, man. So I just think that in the long run, Barca's style of play will lead to a title rather than Atleti's.
So then in your mind, Atleti's out of the La Liga race.
Yeah.
They're out of the Champions League. Mm-hmm. Copa del Rey, they're out of that too, right?
No.
One more game.
There's a chance.
They're out of it, bro.
Yeah, Atletico does not do well in Copa del Rey.
What's the assessment on the season so far then? What do you have to say to Atleti fans out there that might be looking to you to speak on them and what has transpired this season and what's been a crazy up and down season at the end of the day? So many exciting moments with a lot of game winners, surprisingly, some good defensive displays, and then a little bit of the opposite as well, man, with luck working against you, conceding some bad goals and ultimately falling short in these title races.
Well, I think first and foremost, it affirmed it for me. Diego Simeone is a genius. He is one of the best coaches of all time. I'd say he's top 2 coach in the modern game.
Behind who?
I put Pep up there just because of his accolades. So I'd say Pep, and then I'm putting Simeone. I'm putting him above Klopp. I'm putting him above Carlo Ancelotti. I'm putting him above Jose Mourinho at this point. What Diego Simeone has done with this Atleti side to get them this competitive, it's mind-blowing. We were 10 points behind Barcelona, and then now all of a sudden we're in a title race in March. It's crazy to me. But it's because he's gathered the troops, and he has them playing the exact same way, game in, game out, week in, week out. That is so hard for managers to do, to get 11, 12, 13, 14 players to play at a high, intense level every single week. But Diego Simeone has managed to do it for the last 10 years. 10 years. He's gone through so many different iterations of this Atleti side, and he still manages to be as competitive as possible. Because, I mean, my outlook on this season at the very beginning was pretty grim, bro. But the second thing I have to say about Atleti this season, Julian Alvarez has established himself as a top 3 player in the world.
Better than Haaland?
Yes.
I was thinking about that. Would you rather have him up top over Erling Haaland
You would definitely want Julian Alvarez as your number 9 over Haaland, over Lautaro Martinez, honestly over Harry Kane right now.
Yeah.
I think This season specifically, Julian Alvarez is the best 9 in the game.
Oof, man, coming in hot with the takes, and I like that, man. So return Soltero. I think you're right, though, man. What he's done, and even just the past month, you can look at his resume of goals. We weren't here to highlight it, but that goal he scored against Real Madrid in the first leg.
Oh, my God.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
And honestly, the goal today.
Yeah.
The ball was slightly behind him. Very difficult, coming at him quick, and he makes it look easy.
Yeah.
He makes it look easy. He's ridiculous finisher.
Ridiculous. Honestly, looking back, pretty crazy that Manchester City was willing to let him go. I think he has just been on an incredible rise. It's only getting better. He's lived up to the price tag, in my opinion. Must feel nice after the Joao Felix experiment, my friend. But Julian Alvarez has been probably the best part of this entire season, no? But for a Atleti fan, man, easily. On the topic of Diego Simeone, it is interesting because it's not that it was super talked about, but I was hearing rumors and mumblings in the back of my ear for the past 2 years, I would say, where people were asking the question just lightly.
Yeah.
Should Atletico move on from Diego Simeone? We even asked this question on the pod just as a hypothetical. Is there anything better out there? Should they move on after more than 10 years together? It's been a beautiful partnership. And I mean, if it wasn't clear already, I mean, he's the guy for this team.
Yeah.
No matter what, he has to stay there until probably the day he dies.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think I said a year ago, he's gonna be in a wheelchair coaching out on that side. He's gonna be 99 coaching for Atletico.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
We're all gonna be happy. We're gonna trust him.
Yeah, I think I'd trust him, man.
It's ridiculous. But that's another point to Simeone. Dude, most coaches, when they go through a bad phase of form, they almost always end up getting fired. Almost always. Even the greats usually get sacked at a certain point. Simeone has had many moments with Atletico over the last couple of years where he could have just completely crumbled, but he has always turned it around. That's why I consider him one of the best coaches in the modern game. He somehow always figures it out with the players that he has at his disposal.
And I think this season really showcases that, because I agree, going into it, I saw Atleti as a clear step below Real Madrid and Barca going in.
Yeah.
Real Madrid had just gotten Mbappe. They looked unstoppable going into the season. And Barcelona with Hansi Flick, the rise of Lamine Yamal, I thought there was a pretty clear gap between second best team in Spain and the third best team. And then looking at those matchups that he's had against Real Madrid and Barcelona specifically, I mean, today was probably the worst result he had against them this season. The other matches were incredible, bro, which actually makes me want to transition over to the game we saw earlier this week between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid in that second leg at the Wanda Metropolitana, scoring 25 seconds into the match to go up against Real Madrid and ultimately take them to penalties, bro. Your thoughts on the match and what happened, because what a display from Diego Simeone, leading his men out into this game and giving them a fighting chance at beating the mighty Real Madrid, where they ultimately fell short in penalties. But man, you cannot be mad at that. What an incredible game from a neutral perspective. But unfortunately, it does represent the end of Atleti's chances in the Champions League.
Yeah, I was just happy to be there, truly. Going into that matchup, obviously we didn't get to talk about it. We were going through our hiatus, but I honestly thought Madrid were going to go through no matter what. I ran the calculations in my head 10 out of 10 times. It was going to be... 9 out of 10, man? Damn. Yeah. So, and I actually told you personally, going into the second leg, I said, best case scenario, we push it to pens. That's why when we got to the penalties, I was so ecstatic. I was like, oh, we did it. We pulled this off. Also consider the fact that Vinicius skied a pen in that second half to deny Madrid just winning it outright. If Vinicius puts that through, I don't know if Atletico push this to penalties. I really don't think we do. No. We had to have magic in the first leg from Julian Alvarez. A lot went our way, but it's because of Diego Simeone. It's because he knows exactly where to put his players. And so I thought we did the absolute best that we possibly could have done. But I think what most people are realizing, especially going into the spring of this season, this is Mbappe's team, man. This is Mbappe's Real Madrid. Step aside Vinicius, step aside Bellingham. Mbappe has arrived in Spain, and this is his team now, bro, because he's completely gone off starting in 2025.
Yeah. And Vinny, on the other hand, has been shut down. I mean, the way that
he's lost, man.
Defended him was incredible. I mean, every time he was on the ball, 2-3 people came to hound him. It was actually incredible defense. He was not impactful in that game, but it was Mbappe who sliced through the defense there to cause that penalty. Honestly, I feel like he should have taken the penalty, given that he was the one that earned it.
That's the thing.
Vinny steps up and he completely skies it, man. Not the first time we've seen a skied penalty at the Metropolitana after Lautaro's famous one is still in the sky somewhere in orbit at the moment. But you're right, Mbappe, man. Every time I look at the score sheet, he's there now. He's consistent. He figured out his scoring. He no longer has the yips. And what's incredible is that it's the most important time of the season now. So I think the rise in Mbappe, the performances from guys like Valverde filling in for the absence of Carvajal has been really, really good as well. The center backs are stepping up too for Real Madrid. They have been slightly improving more and more. And I guess that class showed itself in the penalty shootout, honestly.
Yeah.
They came in and they scored the important penalties to guide them to victory. And Real Madrid got a massive result. Massive result. When things looked like they weren't going to go their way, they still pulled it off. And you can say that's either, that's Champions League heritage, that's the footballing gods, that's them selling their souls, whatever it might be, man. Real Madrid made it through, and it came at the expense of Atletico Madrid, who a lot of people highlight was because of a weird double touch call in the penalty shootout. Been curious to know, because I didn't ask you off screen.
Yeah.
Was it a double touch? Did he touch it twice?
I think so. I think no matter how you spin it, how you look at it, what angle you do, how slow-mo you go, I do think he touches it twice, man. His plant foot slips. It goes right underneath it to touch it that first time, and then he kicks it for the second touch. And the trajectory was a little more loopy than I think you would expect it to be. So it's a double touch. I'm not mad at all, because it's just bad luck. It's just really bad luck. There's nothing that can be done here. I just wonder if in the future there's room for a rule change. I wonder, if there's a slip, an actual slip in the run-up, can you do a redo? I wonder if that'll come in the next 5-10 years.
Oh, man, that'd be tough to, I guess, regulate.
Well, a slip. No, if you slip.
But how do you constitute a slip?
Like your plant foot slides.
Can the player use that to their advantage? That's what I'm thinking about right now.
Right, that'd be what FIFA would have to think about.
You start seeing guys sliding at a penalty from 10 yards out. They're just sliding at it. Like a slide tackle pin becomes a thing.
So they can confuse the keeper, get a second try. Interesting.
No, I think you're right though. I would have liked to see a retake. I just feel like if it was badly taken, if it was an illegal kick, retake it. It rarely happens in football.
That's the thing.
It ruined the moment. It ruined the spectacle for me, because I would have liked to see Julian Alvarez have a fair shot at it. He did slip. It is his fault. So there's arguments for both sides. And ultimately, I think Atletico still evened it out, though. They got a save in the process. And the missed penalty was in a way rescinded, I believe, because Lucas Vazquez had a terrible pen, which then evened the game out, and then Llorente steps up, and he misses. So I just think the gods weren't in their favor.
Well, that's actually another thing to say. In that game specifically, we saw the return of prime Thibaut Courtois, because throughout that entire 90 minutes, my God, man, he was making some crazy saves. So I just think Courtois had a really good game against Villarreal this weekend too. Madrid, specifically Courtois and Mbappe, are rediscovering their primes right now. So I think that's another reason why Madrid will be tough to get past in these really tight knockout situations, man. Yeah, and I wanted to speak on that, but before that, I do want to say that I leave that game, that matchup, with the belief that I think Atletico, had they not been matched up with Real Madrid, you could say Liverpool, PSG, throw Barca in there, I still think they could play up to those four teams, honestly. They could play a role in being difficult to defeat. But I think if they've been matched up with any other team, I think they could win it. Yeah, they could have won it. I feel like the quality I saw from them in this round of 16 matchup was that worthy of a semifinal appearance for Atletico Madrid. They were on an incredible run. And the Metropolitana, I think, has asserted itself as top 2, top 3 stadium in Europe with the way they can change the impact of a game. I think it's overtaken Anfield, honestly, right now. I think it's more electric than Anfield at the moment. Yeah, I'd say prime Jurgen Klopp Liverpool was the peak of it, but Metropolitana right now is an insane place to go to. And ultimately, Real Madrid lost that game in regulation. It was just through a penalty shootout that they won it, but it's so tough to beat Atletico there, which makes the Barca result today even more impressive. That's why it hurts, bro. Oh, that's why it hurts, man. My fault. But see, that's another thing though. Madrid are yes, Mbappe's popping off. Yes, Courtois is popping off. They're weird. Yep. Madrid is weird. It's just their star power that's going to get them to the final. Because
I mean, that's gonna be enough, bro.
it's gonna be enough.
Yeah, and it's good star power.
And I must say, as an Atleti fan, as a fan of the underdog, I hate to see it because I just like to see teams that play good football be rewarded from time to time. But Madrid, throw it to Mbappe, you'll somehow win the game. Madrid's midfield, it's non-existent. I'm shocked at how little they facilitate the ball, considering that they're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like it's amazed me how much of a hole Toni Kroos actually left. They haven't figured it out.
Black hole now.
It's a black hole. Their midfield is completely non-existent. Rudiger and Asensio, fantastic.
Asensio, man, what a season.
Yeah, what a season for him. What a call up too for him to really come into this team when Madrid didn't really have any other center backs outside of Rudiger. Huge for him. No Dani Carvajal as well. Lucas Vazquez has been all right, but what a core for them. But the midfield's just not there, bro. It's not there. Vinicius can't figure out how to play with Mbappe. Bellingham can't figure out how to play with Mbappe. And Rodrigo's doing his Rodrigo things. He comes in and out of games from time to time. Brahim Diaz is basically the same thing. But this is why I'm going to actually put this on Ancelotti, bro. I'm going to put this on him. I understand he has pressure to play all four of those players. I understand that. But he's got to figure out how to get the best of everybody at the same time. He has to figure that out. If you're going to have Mbappe be the center striker, great. That's what you should do. He's going to get all the goals. But Vinicius is completely ineffective as a winger now because he's used to coming inside up top, but Mbappe's there now. So there's two center backs that Vinicius runs into every time.
Yeah.
He's more effective now when he comes to the ball deep, and it would actually give more fluidity to Madrid's midfield. It's frustrating that Vinicius just stays out wide, but he has no space to facilitate it. It's super frustrating. And last season, we would see Bellingham basically be the false nine. Now he doesn't know what to do because Mbappe is there. So Bellingham needs to come deeper. He needs to go back to his midfield roots that we saw at Borussia Dortmund. That's how you return Madrid's midfield back to form, and yet they still win. It doesn't matter.
They still win. I think what stands out to me is, to expand on your point, the chance creation, man. The opportunities they generate are unlike any other Real Madrid team I've seen in the past 10 years, I would say. Like, it was way more relentless. It was way more constant, the pressure they would have offensively. And even on the counter, they were much more deadly than what I've seen this entire year. It is pure moments of brilliance. It's Mbappe getting past one or two guys, or just slinging the ball from outside the box or in the box, catching it well, or it's off of a set piece. Rudiger gets on the end of it, corner kick, goal. They go up. They find a way, as they did just recently against Villarreal, for example, winning 2-1.
Yeah.
They always find a way. And that's what they got. That's what they have going for them, is the ability to clutch out results, which I think is just unmatched in world football. That's the credit I give them. But looking at what happens on the pitch, their chance creation, because of the reasons you listed down below and the styles of these players, it's clashing a lot, bro. It's clashing a lot. I would say it was more fluid when Joselu was up top last year.
Straight up.
Way more fluid. And so, I'm curious to see how far it takes them in both the Champions League and La Liga, as they are positioned in first in La Liga at this moment, and they also have a quarterfinal appearance against Arsenal in the Champions League. Before we go into Champions League predictions, because I want to go into that with a clear mind of where you stand on certain things, let's talk Liverpool.
Let's talk Liverpool, man. Yeah. In my eyes, just before you give your feelings, your sentiments, your thoughts, I consider Liverpool PSG round of 16 match to be worthy of a final.
I agree with that. Incredible game.
Incredible.
And I can't be mad at that.
No, you can't.
I can't be mad at that. I can't. Don't let me be mad at that. Don't let me express remorse towards that game, because I was suffering for the entire time that we were playing up against Ligue 1's finest, man. I was suffering. It was a tough matchup. Salah was frustrating at times because of Nuno Mendes and his performance defensively. Donnarumma and his performance at Anfield was incredible. And Luis Diaz, Jota, Darwin Nunez leaving a lot to be desired offensively when we needed them most. But the midfield battle that we saw with McAllister and Gravenberch going up against Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, João Neves, and then the offensive fluidity of PSG with killers, man, weapons, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, and Bradley Barcola. Throw in Desiree Doué. In my opinion, some of the most artistic offense I've ever seen, man. Hand the ball off to any four of those guys and just see what they do, see what they create, see what they draw on the pitch, man. They should have had more than just one goal in that game, in my opinion. They played incredible. They shut down Liverpool's midfield. They made Liverpool's offense really work for any opportunity that we generated. Luck was in their side as well, with a few opportunities that could have gone to the back of the net, but just didn't for us. They withstood that Anfield pressure. I mean, they passed the test in nearly every single category while getting Liverpool's best punch. So I can't be mad, bro. I can't, because this is what it took to beat this Liverpool side that I had selected to be the winners of the Champions League. I believe you also had that selection going into, a month ago. I had them as the favorites. This is what it took, bro. And it now leads me to believe that PSG has a genuine opportunity at lifting the Champions League title themselves. And it proves to me that this is the best PSG side that I've seen outside of maybe that team that made the final against Bayern Munich.
Liverpool couldn't get one goal at Anfield?
Nah.
Just one.
Nah.
They couldn't get one goal?
Salah couldn't, because we didn't get help from anywhere else, bro, man.
Yeah.
Which didn't.
It was tough to watch from that perspective. Liverpool, in my opinion, have had the best offense over the course of the entire season. So for them to get shut out at home, that really, really surprised me. But maybe it was just a balancing act, considering that Liverpool stole the game in Paris.
Yeah.
Yin-yang, if you will. I think over the course of the 180 minutes that I saw, this game should have gone to pens. What we saw out on the pitch, there's just no difference, man. The game in Paris, as tight as can be, but we saw what Paris could do. And the first 25 minutes in Anfield, that's when Liverpool really showed their class, and they should have gotten a goal. They should have gotten a goal, but instead, it was a brilliant counterattack from Paris, and they go up 1-0 instead. But yeah, I think this game definitely deserved penalties. It would have been harsh for either side to have won this game in regulation, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I can't be mad. Obviously, I'm sad at what has transpired for Liverpool in that we ultimately fell short in our quest for a Champions League title, but losing in this fashion to PSG is just, it's remarkable, man. PSG, Luis Enrique has figured out a way, unlike Ancelotti, to maximize the talents that he has and give them the room to operate and feel free in whatever role has been assigned to them in their offense and midfield. It's truly been incredible, man. And it has me questioning how good this PSG side is, because I believe they're still undefeated in the league right now, in Ligue 1, which is incredible to see, even if it is a pretty weak league. But then the Champions League, man, with their next matchup being another Premier League side, it would kill me. It would kill me to see PSG fall short against a team in Aston Villa after what they just did to Liverpool. The problem I have is the history of this team and what we've seen them, they've seen them go through in these moments where they do end up disappointing in the later stages of the Champions League. But what I've seen so far and what I saw in that game against Liverpool, I see a completely new iteration of PSG that genuinely has me excited, man. Genuinely. And I think is just made for a potential title winner.
Yeah, I actually have PSG as my favorites going into the quarters. I think
over Barca?
Over Barca, yeah.
Over Real Madrid?
Over Real Madrid. Well,
I'm hesitant to give them that clear of a title. I feel like I feel like Barca, Real Madrid, and PSG are now all one conglomerate. And I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see who's the one that sticks out to me the most, because I think they each have their flaws.
I think out of all those three teams, PSG have the least amount of flaws right now.
My biggest flaw for them is experience.
Yeah, and it's a big one, man.
It's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But in terms of play style, it's the best. There's basically no questions to be asked. Their defense was incredible. They proved it against Liverpool. The midfield is insane. The offense is one of the best in Europe.
It's one of the best in Europe. And honestly, considering the first half of the season, you could say PSG have had the most dramatic turnaround of any team in Europe, because the first half of the season, it was all right. The PSG were all right. They were just mainly relying on star power like Madrid to get the results. But ever since the turn of the year 2025, PSG have been the most informed team across all the leagues in Europe. Dude, they beat Brest 10-0 on aggregate. 10-0 over the two games.
I'm glad we didn't cover that one, man. I'm glad we didn't. I didn't need to talk about that. There's nothing to say there.
That's insane, bro. They're playing with just absolute freedom right now. Every player is showing up defensively in the midfield and offensively, as you just stated, man. And of course, Donnarumma too, bro. Like he's finally showing up in big moments. This might be the year for PSG, but you're right. They've just never done it before. So will that come to haunt them? And honestly, if they play Madrid at any point, I'd probably still back Madrid to somehow pull it off, but I would say PSG would be the better team.
That's who I'd want to win. Luis Enrique, is this probably one of his best achievements, what he's done with this PSG team?
Dang.
Results-wise, yeah.
I think result-wise, yeah, and just the way and the style that they're playing, the amount of goals that they're getting, he's gotten the best out of Dembele. Vitinha's come into such good form this season as well. So, yeah, I think you could say this is Luis Enrique's prime time right now.
Is there any weight to a Dembele Ballon d'Or shout?
How many goals does he have right now? That's what we'd have to...
Off the top of my head, let me say 15. Let me say 15. I'll show it on screen. I'm gonna say 15, maybe 20. League tax.
If he gets over 20 goals or close to it, and he goes all the way to the final, then yeah, contention. And if he wins it, then I would say definite contention.
I'm saying wins. He would have to win it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They win. PSG wins Champions League. They win the league title. Maybe they lose one game. Dembele is the guy that leads the team in assists and goals.
Yeah.
Is that enough to give a guy in the 5th best league in Europe the Ballon d'Or?
I think so. I think just the way that they would have to go through the Champions Leagues to win it. PSG actually had a really tough group stage schedule. They had one of the toughest out of the biggest teams to beat Liverpool, and then they'll have to beat Villa, which is another really good Premier League side. That'll be pretty good in as well. And if they end up playing Madrid or Barcelona or whatever in the final, that's going to be tough, man. Yeah. So I always say, yeah, if PSG win it, yeah, give it to Dembele.
Let's look at that then right now, just because we're touching on everything. Let's touch on the Ballon d'Or race very quickly.
Yeah.
I think Mo Salah was the favorite going into the month prior to us leaving. The clear favorite with how we were looking in multiple leagues and going for a treble. Maybe in a quadruple.
Yeah, maybe.
The way we were looking was incredible, but I got to move on. Mo Salah, Rafinha, Dembele, Mbappe.
Yeah.
I think that's a clear 4 right there.
And I think whoever wins will get it. Whoever wins the Champions League will get it.
If any of those teams win it.
Yeah.
Probably will, I would think.
Probably will, although Arsenal might have a decent chance.
We will talk about that in Champions League predictions.
Decent chance. But yeah, I think Salah, if he ends up just continuing his stats in the Prem, wins a Premier League, maybe he gets like 3rd.
Maybe or if Villa wins the Champions League. That makes me laugh.
Someone random.
Yeah, someone outside of those 3 wins it, then maybe there's an argument there to be made that he deserves it, because then it just becomes about numbers, and he's got the best in all of Europe.
Okay.
But he would need Real Madrid, Barcelona, or PSG to not win, because I think they each have a guy that's clearly the front runner for the team. I say as of right now, in this moment, first place, I'm putting Rafinha. Second place, for the fun of it, I'm putting Dembele.
Yeah.
Mbappe 3rd. And Salah 4th. The first 3 guys in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd are all there because they're still competing for the Champions League, which I think matters a lot. And then also La Liga, who ends up winning that also plays a role for Rafinha or for Mbappe as well. Let's go into it, man. Let's quickly go over our Champions League predictions.
Please.
We got the quarterfinals set for early April. A lot has transpired, but let's go through all 4 matchups and decide who we have winning these games. Starting off with Arsenal going up against Real Madrid, a very exciting matchup, one that I've personally been wanting to see for a long time. Arsenal hosting the first match at Emirates Stadium, and then the return leg at the Santiago Bernabeu. Real Madrid has all that aura, all that history, all that experience going for them. But Arsenal has, you could say, a vendetta or a want to prove themselves on the big stage after a very, very long time. This is the prime opportunity for guys like Bukayo Saka, for guys like Mikel Arteta to pull off one of the biggest victories for Arsenal in the past 5-10 years.
Yeah, this game's 50-50. I think Arsenal are the better team, but Madrid have all of the experience, all of the aura, all of the glory. I can hear the Champions League coming. The Champions League theme coming, bro. I can hear it.
Turn it off, man.
I know.
Turn it off. It's driving you crazy.
And so that's just tough to go against. We've seen it over the last 10 years. This is where Madrid shine. And given Arsenal's form over this entire season, it's beatable. Arsenal's very, very beatable, but so are Madrid. So you just have to back what you back. Do you back that glory, that history, or do you back the fluidity of Mikel Arteta's style of football? Can they pull off something incredible? Also consider the fact the league's done for Arsenal. It is done. Liverpool have, like an 11, 12-point lead over Arsenal. It's over. So Arsenal, really, their only saving grace for the season is the Champions League. Put all your eggs in this basket. Go up against a weird Real Madrid. Get the dub. I think it's possible for both sides to go through. This one's 50-50. I'm going to give Madrid the edge with the second leg at home, Mbappe in form, but I do think Arsenal have a great chance.
I remember early on in the season, a big take I had, one of my proudest takes was that I just didn't think Arsenal was going to compete for the Premier League title or lift it at the end of the day, but that the Champions League was the tournament for them to focus in on and to go all in on and look to win. The opportunity has finally arrived. It's why I've been checking the injury status of Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli on a daily basis. Martinelli came back and made an appearance in the PSV second leg match, so he'll probably be good to go by time of this matchup.
He's back.
But Saka, man, I need Saka feeling great, playing well going into this game because they cannot win this without him. They just can't. They need Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, and then Trossard potentially in that middle spot because they have now lost Kai Havertz for the rest of the season. When I watched Atletico Madrid against Real Madrid, I did feel a slight desire out of Atletico's offense that I didn't get fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Atletico plays a certain style of football. They're very, very good at it, but there were moments in the game that I believe Real Madrid could have been exposed, whether it was on a counter, whether it was in possession, that Atletico just wasn't able to fully take advantage of, scoring 2 goals in total over 180 minutes against Real Madrid. I think that showed. I think Arsenal can do way more damage offensively, which is why I really like the prospect of Arsenal going up against this specific Real Madrid side. Defensively, they can tap into a very good defensive version of themselves as well. Yeah. It just hasn't come as consistently as I would hope. But I would think that in a matchup of this magnitude, a matchup this big with the opportunity at hand, I would hope that they can tap into that and prove to be a very good, sturdy defensive side with that ability to hurt their opponents, hurt a team of the magnitude of Real Madrid in a matchup like this. So I agree with you. Arsenal has a golden chance here, man. There's a true opportunity at making history and what's probably their best chance to make a deep run in the Champions League in a long, long time, man. And I just hope everything is set in place for us to see the best version of Arsenal going into this game. With that being said, it's tough to not pick Real Madrid, man.
It's tough.
It is tough. And the experience, what we saw against Atletico Madrid, the footballing gods, everything that encapsulates this tournament, just always favors Real Madrid, man. It always does.
Always.
And I don't think it happens here. I don't think this is where they get knocked out. I'm sorry. I probably got Arsenal fans excited.
Damn, you got me excited. That's what you say?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's tough. The attitude. I mean, that's how it is.
I just wish, even if Saka's there, he might be a little rusty. He hasn't played in a while. And that's what also worries me. And breaking Rudiger, Asensio, and Courtois in this form, I think is going to be really, really hard. Where Arsenal can shine, though, you have Merino, false 9, Odegaard, dominating the midfield against this non-existent midfield Madrid. There's a chance, man, but God damn it, man. When Mbappe's there, even Vinicius, when he goes ghost, he can somehow pop up again.
And I don't know if he'll go as ghost in this matchup. Then I think Atletico played him the best any team could.
Yeah, true.
I don't know if Arsenal can do the same with him specifically. So I see him having a bigger impact over these 2 legs. Yeah. And that's scary. That is scary. So I'm going Real Madrid. Folks, let us know down below who are you going with in Real Madrid, Arsenal. But I do want to make it clear, I'm not shrugging off Arsenal like I've seen in other predictions. A lot of people are counting Arsenal out. I think this is an incredible opportunity, man. Incredible. Let's continue on with PSG going up against Aston Villa. PSG also with a great opportunity here to progress to the semifinals.
And they will.
Okay. I won't do any more preview then. PSG's beating Aston Villa, yeah?
Yeah. Especially over 2 games. 1 game, maybe I would give Villa a chance. 2 games, absolutely not.
I just get scared, though, man.
No, not against Villa. Villa's not scary.
Man, I feel like what we saw was the best version of PSG in that match against Liverpool. To count on them to repeat that is what's scaring me here.
They won't need to.
You're saying 80% of that defeats Aston Villa?
75.
60?
65.
All right, I can meet you there. All right then.
Yeah.
All right then. I won't be anxious about it.
No.
About
You
anxiety.
shouldn't. Not this matchup.
Okay, I won't.
Future, yes, but not against
PSG.
Villa. Villa are a great side. They're really fun to watch, and they have great goal scorers. Rodgers, Watkins, even Leon Bailey can show up at times. Their midfield, there's some good talent there with Tielemans. We've watched Villa specifically all season long because, God, they were so interesting at the beginning, first half of the season. What could they really achieve? And honestly, I'll be surprised if they made it this far. Maybe they got a little lucky that they got to play against Bruges, because Bruges used up all of their luck against Atalanta.
Yeah.
But Villa took advantage, and they battered Club Bruges. But I think it takes a lot to beat this PSG side. It takes to be as good as Liverpool, and Villa's just not as good as Liverpool. We've seen it all Premier League season long. Villa's right in that 5th to 8th place range. You have to be first or second to be able to beat this PSG side. PSG has been so consistent for the last 3 months. They're not going to let up against Villa.
Yeah, that's what I highlight as the biggest flaw with Aston Villa this year: consistency. Consistency, and even their best version this year hasn't been that impressive compared to the heights that we saw them reach last year or the year before that. I can't buy into the Villa project this year. I tried. I really did. For any Villa fans watching out there, I gave Villa way too much attention for the first 5 months of this season.
Bro, we talked about them a lot.
Weekly, man. It's not. I really don't want to come from a perspective that we're just picking the team with better odds. It really is from a place where I tried to buy into the project. I tried to hop on board Unai Emery and what he's trying to do, but this year has been pretty lackluster for Aston Villa. They do have that aspect of also putting all their eggs in one basket into the Champions League, but I don't think that's going to deliver for them. I think it ends here for them. PSG continues their incredible narrative, and I would bet Dembele gets a goal in one of these games. And so I just think it's going to be a great game for PSG. Momentum to build as they're on their way to a semifinal appearance. The next matchup that we have is Barcelona facing off against Borussia Dortmund, who just continue to find a way to make it into the final A of the Champions League after being finalists just last year. Dortmund is back, looking to be clear underdogs here as they take on an on-fire Barcelona side.
Dortmund doing Dortmund things, man. They really are that character in the Champions League where they're just underdog and they play the same way year after year, and it reaps rewards, man. Another great, decent run for Borussia Dortmund. Unfortunately for them, they have to play Barcelona. And I say that because Dortmund, honestly, like Villa, have a pretty good offense, but a leaky defense. Barcelona's defense not that much better, but Barca's offense is obviously, on paper and off the eye, so much better than Dortmund's. We already saw them play in the Champions League group phase. It ended up being a Barcelona win. Over 2 games, Barcelona is just going to outscore Dortmund. Dortmund might be able to get a couple for sure, but they're not outscoring Barca.
Yeah, it's tough to find the argument for Dortmund in this one, man. Maybe last year's Dortmund makes a better competitor in this situation, but Barca this year, I think, has shown that they are very intentional about what they're doing in the Champions League. They're scoring like no other Barca team I've seen since probably the Messi, Neymar, Suarez days. Their goal tally is ridiculous. And yeah, they're probably conceding this matchup, but I'm actually not worried that they won't score the goals that they need. My worry actually would come from what I saw in the Benfica matchup. What's going on with these red cards, man? What's going on? I feel like Barca is very prone to just a surprise red card. It's what kicked them out of the quarterfinals last year. Yeah. Was Araujo getting a red card against, I believe it was PSG, which put them in trouble. And that's probably the only thing I could see playing against Barca in this situation is like a surprise bad decision or mistake from one of these players. They seem to be prone to that. But if that doesn't happen, Pedri's controlling whatever midfield he's in, bro. Whatever midfield he's in, he's taking control of it. He's shining. He's been playing probably some of his best football ever this entire past year after winning the Euros and now going on an incredible run with Barca this entire season. I have full confidence that he can command the midfield and guide Barcelona to another victory here. So I have Barcelona winning this matchup. Rafinha tying up a few more goals, adding to his Ballon d'Or resume. Barca is winning this matchup and going to the semifinals, leaving one more matchup to be predicted here Inter Milan against Bayern Munich. After Inter Milan was in the Champions League final a couple years back, and Bayern has kind of struggled to go deep into the Champions League as of recently, with a very different type of team this year, I would say, with what we've seen so far in their Champions League campaign, but still making it far enough into the tournament to be in the quarterfinals and matched up against Italy leaders right now.
Yeah, Bayern have just been not it for me this season, man. I've really tried to give them a chance as they're topping the table in Germany. They have a good point tally above the next best team, Bayer Leverkusen. So you would, based off of that, think, oh, Bayern's returned to form. They're back. Dominant Bayern. Let's go to the semifinals. Let's make a finals appearance in the Champions League. But there's just so many questions of this Bayern team that just hasn't been answered for me. Their defense goes ghost at times. Their center back pairing's too unstable for me. Their midfield creation, I think, is weak. Outside of Kane, outside of Harry Kane, there isn't another goal scorer on this team. Their chance creation's decent from a winger perspective, but it doesn't lead to anything. It doesn't lead to these goals. So when Bayern need to be clinical, if Kane's not doing it, nobody else is. And Kim Min-jae and whatever defender he's partnered up against is constantly getting caught out. Their midfield isn't that strong. And just when I look at their opponents in Inter Milan, I see a team that is just well drilled, so defensive, but they've actually added some really good players this season, man, with Thuram really coming into his own offensively, making this team more deadly, more threatening. I just see Milan controlling this game defensively and then using their finishers to get the best of Bayern Munich. I think it'll be a good matchup and it'll make for really good dramatic football, but I think Inter Milan are clearly the better side against Bayern.
Yeah, they're the better side, and I would say the more stable side, the more consistent side. Today, they got a very impressive result, defeating Atalanta away from home to just continue building their advantage at the top of the table in Serie A. I think they're the clear better team here. Bayern, what I think they have going for them is that ability to play at a high level in games of this magnitude. I thought their performance against Bayer Leverkusen was very impressive. Given that Bayer Leverkusen is a very weak version of themselves right now, they killed them. They killed him. Bro. They didn't make it close.
There was a red card in the 30th minute as well. It just doesn't help them.
Doesn't help them.
Doesn't help Leverkusen.
And I would see that as the only real positive I could give to Bayern Munich is
they barely beat Celtic.
I know. I'm with you. I'm just trying to give them something good, man. Because I'm not going to pick them. I'm going Inter Milan in this matchup. Bayern Munich has been way too questionable, and for me, it's a defensive pairing. I can't get behind a Kim Min-jae, Upamecano backline guiding you to a Champions League semifinal or a Champions League final. Clip me if I am wrong. Clip me and put that in a montage of predictions if you want, if I end up being wrong. But I really don't see them guiding you to a Champions League semifinal or final. Yeah. If Bayern goes to the final, I'll do an episode in German.
We'll go to Oktoberfest. Do a live episode after 3 Steins.
It's more expensive, man. I got Duolingo's free.
No, bro. If Bayern make the final, that's one thing you'd have to do, bro.
I liked Oktoberfest when we went. So we're saying we run it back.
We run it back.
Careful, bro. Man. The Turkish folks are still looking for me, man. Careful now.
No, it's what we do.
All right. They're not making the final. All right, bet. We'll go to Oktoberfest. After 3 pints, we're shooting an episode with a bunch of Germans.
Yeah.
All right, fair. I got Inter Milan winning this matchup. Lautaro Martinez has been on fire still. He's been on fire for the past 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something. Like, is he injured or something?
No.
It scared me.
No, yeah.
Marcus Thuram is on his rise that we've seen. Maybe finally he shows up in these big games. I feel like that's been missing for him in the past 2 seasons. Yeah. I want to see him go off. I trust the midfield. I trust the defense. Let's do it, man. Inter Milan to the semifinal to finish off our Champions League predictions. Let me know down below. Let me know in the comments. Where do you guys stand on all 4 of these matchups? Do you agree or disagree with us? Let's continue our discussion, man. As I continue down this list of things to talk about. I mean, we talked about Julian Alvarez. We talked about the Ballon d'Or race, Villa in the quarters. Chivas played America 3 times in a row.
Racing Club from Avellaneda, Buenos Aires, they beat Botafogo in the Recopa Sudamericana.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
How much?
I think maybe like a goal or two, I think.
I saw it they're not off to the best start in the league at Aston Club.
No. I mean, that's Argentine football. It goes up and down.
Neymar getting injured doesn't get the call up to the national team after initially getting promised that he was going to get the call up. He gets injured.
This one pisses me off, man. Like, we've been all, I think, waiting for the return of Neymar for this Brazil side. Maybe he wouldn't even help them tactically on the pitch, but just spiritually. Because Brazil needs something, man. This side has been so whack for the last 18 months. So I was just hoping for a little bit of invigoration. And I thought Neymar would have provided that. But now he's injured. I mean, that's just what we're hearing now on a monthly basis. Neymar injured. It makes me sad, man. That's not what I want to see.
I agree, man. Like, this is disappointing. It's sad. I got lost in the fairy tale of his return to the Brazilian national team. I hope the injury isn't too bad. If anything, I say don't play him for a year and a half and just let him lace them up as healthy as he can be once the World Cup arrives, but Santos needs him.
And I think Brazil are playing Argentina this window.
Damn, that's what we're coming back to?
That's what we're coming back to. So I'm just like, that would have been perfect, man.
Good Lord, man.
So, yeah, that's just sad.
Liverpool lose the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle.
Newcastle United. Congratulations, man.
Congratulations,
what a win.
Congratulations.
Completely deserved it. Obviously, Liverpool just went through heartbreak a couple days ago. They on the day today, they just were not the better team at Wembley. It was the black and white, the Magpie.
Up the tune.
Up the fucking tune,
man.
Newcastle United, brother. Congratulations. What a goal from Isak. And Big Dan Burn.
Big boy.
Getting big in the box, putting his massive head to that ball, putting Newcastle up 1-0 at the time. Just what a performance, man. I thought they completely deserved it. And this is huge for Newcastle. Their first silverware in 50 years?
40, I think is what
40?
I saw.
Yeah.
40. Ridiculous. Happy for Newcastle. That's what I'm trying to focus on. That's what I should, because the story is amazing. They deserve this. I like that we saw that influx of money be given to the team, and that finally results in some silverware, man. It's been a while. I hope that this is the start of a trend here. Isak lifting a title with Newcastle, I think, is very good. I mentioned it before that I want to see him have that moment with this team prior to potentially leaving in the offseason. He got his moment, man. He got it. And when I think about just the general genesis of football, this is what I would want, right? I would want a team like Newcastle, who hasn't lifted a trophy in so long, to get that chance, man, instead of a team like Liverpool who wins, who just won it last year.
Think of the thousands of people that have been waiting for 40 years.
I know, man. That's what I should want.
Think about
That's what I should want. Liverpool's my team, man.
It's a Carabao Cup.
Red.
Carabao Cup.
I bleed red,
Carabao Cup, man.
You are a little right, though. You are a little right. I think, if
Small
anything...
Small trophy.
I'm pissed at the performance. That's what I'm pissed at for Liverpool. It's not so much losing. It's how we lost. No fight, no effort, completely outplayed in a game, in a matchup where we were the favorites. We had the better team. We have more momentum. Even with the Champions League loss, we played great in those games. It's not like we got completely blown out. We played great up to a very high level. Just play at that same high level again against a team like Newcastle, and theoretically, you should win. But nah, man, this was Newcastle for all 90 minutes. We made it close towards the end, but just couldn't get that second chance to really make it a potential 2-2 result to push it to overtime. Newcastle, the deserved winners here. I think that's great for them to look back on this game and know that they were the better team. They also went through, I believe, Manchester City, Chelsea, and Arsenal on their path to this title, man.
Sure.
So it's, what do you mean, sure?
No, sure.
What do you mean, sure?
Sure.
It's incredible, bro.
It's great. Good for Newcastle.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So credit to them, man. This is an incredible victory. I'm just a little pissed at Liverpool for what I saw from them on the pitch. And it, in a way, I think continues exposing some of our flaws, our problems that were shown in that PSG game. They were even more exposed now. I think Slot has made interesting decisions, deciding to rely on Jota, not putting in Harvey Elliott, for example, or Chiesa not getting the minutes he deserved despite showing a lot of promise and his slight appearances earlier in the season and then getting a goal today. I think he should have tinkered with the lineup a little bit more, because what we got was the same result as what we saw in that PSG matchup, which was Salah not really being able to generate any chances and Diaz, Jota not being able to do that as well.
It's jarring seeing Chiesa play for Liverpool. I forget every time that he's a Liverpool player. every single time I'm like, oh shit, it's Federico Chiesa. How you doing?
It's full on Italian up there.
Full on, bro. There were 2 Italians out on the pitch that day. Tonali and Chiesa, ridiculous. Chiesa actually gets a goal too. Good goal, but very strange. Also, is Gakpo injured?
He's been knocked. He's knocked up.
And
he's knocked up.
But he's still. It's just.
I don't think Slot. It's either Slot doesn't have the confidence that he can play a full 90, or Slot doesn't rate Gakpo as high as I thought he did, because on form, on who's the better player, he's been great this season over Diaz, in my opinion.
Right, and if you have a string of results where you're not getting goals, maybe switch it up just a little bit. Mm-hmm. You have the depth. I don't know, a little weird.
I agree.
Little weird, but you won a Prem, brother. You should be happy.
And I am, dude. I didn't think. It's perspective. This is my perspective on life, if you will. You can see this as Liverpool lost out on a treble, maybe even a quadruple, you could say, and only ends up with 1 trophy. Or you could see this as Slot's first season ends with a massive trophy for Liverpool, tying the all-time tally in Premier Leagues with Manchester United, bringing us absolute glory in England, pushing us to the absolute limit against PSG in an incredible game, and then falling short in a League Cup final against Newcastle, and then throwaway game against Plymouth. And I think that's the perspective I'm going to choose to have. Nice. Is that we still get a Premier League title at the end of the day, man. Like, our expectations were much lower, I would say, going into this season. I think it's clear that we need to have a little bit of resurgence in the offseason when it comes to players offensively outside of Mo Salah. If we do end up re-signing him, there needs to be we need to make decisions regarding that sector of the pitch. But it's been an incredible year so far, and I'm not going to let 2 results, define my attitude towards the season. It's still been great, man.
Darwin finally leaves. Yeah. Would you want like a 9, a true 9, or would you want to keep playing like elusive players like Jota? Because when Jota is on it, he's really good.
It is nice. I want Isak.
You greedy guy.
Let me have Julian, bro. It's either that or I get Isak.
190 million, he's yours.
190?
190. I'll give it to you for
damn, bro.
185. He's yours for
you can have
185.
Him, bro. You can have him, bro. You can have him. I do want a 9. I want a 9 for Liverpool, and I would like to see Gakpo come back to health and just certify himself as that left winger for us. And then Salah getting re-signed would be great too.
Damn, for real, though. Yeah. For real. You hear Griezmann, PSG might sign Griezmann in the summer? That's a little rumor going on. Obviously, the MLS rumors are very strong as well. So I'm just curious to see where Greasy goes after this season, because I don't know. I think we're nearing the end of European Griezmann for sure.
I felt like there were moments when he was on the ball in that Real Madrid game where I was hoping he would do more. And
yeah,
he couldn't.
Exactly.
He just couldn't. The idea was there, but he couldn't, or he would like lose it too easily, or make the wrong pass. I don't know. Can he do another year with Atleti?
He can, but it's just it's going to keep going down.
More limited. Yeah. Let's talk some Nations League CONCACAF football. Because we're coming in at a time where club football is taking a halt for, I believe, 17 days, and we got international football with World Cup qualification happening. But here in our region in North America, the CONCACAF Nations League is back for its 4th iteration, I believe.
I think so.
With the USA set to face off against Panama and Canada going up against my beloved Mexico. Let's start there. Canada versus Mexico. Can this Mexican side, led by Javier Aguirre, lift a title, their first Nations League title after falling short for 3 straight years, and what's been a changing of the guard up top, resulting in some interesting results? Whereas Canada, led by Jesse Marsch, is coming off of an incredible Copa America performance and has done well since then to continue winning games and get results, be it against pretty weak opponents. But the question that Canada poses is this the year that they can lift the Nations League trophy for the first time in their history?
What Canada has done with Jesse Marsch has been spectacular, man. They built an identity, and they built it quick. They got that shit up and running within a couple months, man. And like that's what Mexico have been trying to find an identity for 4 years now.
Yeah,
it's been so long for them. Canada did it overnight. And they were able to prove that it worked at the Copa America, being the best CONCACAF side and playing damn good football as well along the way. They proved in that tournament that their identity can be executed every single time. There's a really good discipline to the side. And of course, you still have star power players who are so threatening offensively with Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies, man. You add in X-Factor type players like Eustáquio and my boy Schaffelberg. This team is really fun to watch, and they've actually put themselves, I would say, as the best team in CONCACAF right now. And that's what I love about this specific CONCACAF Nations League, because they can cement their position at the top of CONCACAF. They proved that it's possible at the Copa America. Now establish it by beating Mexico and then USA in the final.
I need to mention my boy Bombito as well. Copa America was incredible.
Kone as well, Ismael Kone.
Kone as well, man. They have a lot of likable players now, and the way Jesse Marsch has these guys drilled is really positive. I was looking at their call-ups, and I like the names that I'm seeing in the back line, the midfield, and the striking position. Up front, it feels like a very complete team. It's basically the same team that we saw in the Copa America, so I think it's just good to just continue that same consistency that we've seen from all of them. And for the most part, most of the Canadians that got called up are in good form right now. You know, that's great big factor for them, is being in form. I think there's a huge chance here to be able to, at the very least, defeat Mexico and make it to the final with the promise of winning that final for the first time in their history. Because on the other side, we have a Mexican team that has gone through a lot of change with Javier Aguirre, trying to build a resurgence in this team. I mean, the attitude, the identity has been very off for the past number of years for us now. And we've been looking for somebody to kind of give us that identity, give us that momentum that we need, that highlights the way that we used to play, that brings back that old Mexican style of football. Aguirre hasn't done that fully, but he has been able to get us somewhat positive results. The highlight being a friendly victory over the USA. I think what I will highlight as the biggest positive for Mexico is what's going on with their offensive players right now. Raul Jimenez has had his best year since he was in a Wolves shirt, which was like 3-4 years ago. He's having his best season so far. Just scored this weekend, I believe. His form is great. El Chino Huerta got the call up, and he just scored today. He made the move from Pumas to Belgium and has found himself a home there, which I think is really good. Santi Jimenez making the move from Feyenoord to AC Milan, isn't scoring as many goals as you would hope, but still is playing in a tough league where he's still getting that opportunity to score and be an impactful player. Julian Quiñones is in incredible form. He's a top 3 scorer, I believe, in Saudi Arabia, behind, I think it's Ronaldo and Benzema. I want to say Ronaldo and Benzema, but he is a top 3 scorer, double-digit scorer for, Lord help me here,
Al-Qadsia.
Thank you. Thank you. Those players I say are the big ones, right? Because it's probably out of those players that we will see a front 3. The other call-ups were Alexis Vega, Roberto Alvarado from Chivas, and Efrain Alvarez getting the call-up from Tijuana. He's been solid in the past year. I think I saw that he has 5 goals, 5 assists over like 30 matches in La Liga. That's good by Liga MX standards. And he's like 21 years old, so it's cool to see him get called up. I think the offense is the most exciting thing that we have to offer here, because when you look at the rest of the team, especially the midfield, it is looking as grim as it has ever looked when you compare it to a team of Canada's caliber. So the reason I highlight the offense is because when you look at the midfield, for how excited I get about the offense, I get even more depressed about that midfield, man. Edson Alvarez is back, and he's going to try his best, but Luis Romo, Charlie Rodriguez, Eric Lira, the inconsistent Orbelín Pineda, and then Luis Chavez, it's not anywhere near Canada's midfield, bro. It's just not. And if we get by Canada, it'll be by us having that home field advantage, finding that Mexican way, that Mexican fight, and just beating them off of, I don't know, chaos, excitement, just random. It won't be by outplaying our opponent, I believe. Hopefully I get proven wrong. But I think Canada wins this matchup as the better team going into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Canada are the favorites in this matchup, but I need Mexico to win. I need them to win to prove to themselves that they can actually win a high-intensity, important match. They have the home field advantage, basically, as they're playing in LA. And Aguirre, as you noted, has been trying to find this identity. Let's find it right here, right now, a year out from the World Cup. I do think that if Mexico can start winning these really big matches, that they'll be on the perfect trajectory for everyone to be in form from a chemistry perspective come World Cup time. There was a time when I thought there was just absolutely no way Mexico would figure this out by 2026. But since Aguirre has come in, I do think there's opportunity. And when I look at this squad, there are some golden nuggets here and there that have really surprised me. I think, honestly, Luis Malagon, damn good keeper. I'm surprised that he's been able to really shine in Ochoa's absence, but I still wonder, is Ochoa going to be the keeper?
I don't think so. He didn't get the call this time, so...
The reasoning was weird, though. They said he didn't get the call up because he's in a relegation battle in Portugal, so they wanted him to stay. So they're still talking to Ochoa, which is interesting. But the center backs, I would actually say, low-key is Mexico's highlights here, man. Montes and Vasquez, really, really good. And when you go out wide, you don't lose that much quality either. If you play Gallardo, for example, maybe you play Huescas or Israel Reyes on the right side. So the back line of Mexico, and they kind of showed it at the Copa America, they're here to fight. And they're here to keep games tight. That is what has really surprised me about Mexico, is that even if their midfield and offense is not showing up, their defense is keeping them in games. It's why I think they'll be able to put up a good fight against this better Canadian side. Up top, you already said it. I don't really need to add much. Jimenez is in great form. Raul specifically. Santi's actually in good goal-scoring form too. He can come off the bench. But Quiñones has to start, in my opinion. If Aguirre doesn't start Quiñones, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I really don't know. On the right side, you can have your pick. Vega's in good form with Toluca. Gino Huerta has had really good transition from Pumas over to Belgium. So that'll be a really good point. You could have him in rotation, for example. Yes, the midfield is weak. But I think the midfield will always be weak going into the World Cup. I don't think it's gonna change.
That's not good, bro.
It's not good.
It's not enough.
But what you can do is shore the defense and shore up the offense, because a year ago I had no faith in Mexico's offense. But cut to now, March 2025, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh shit.
Maybe.
Raul, he can do something now. He can actually create. He's more dynamic than Santi. On the left-hand side, if Quiñones is playing, he's the X factor. He can create by himself. And if you have Chino or Vega kind of just popping off randomly, I think that's the liability side. But hey, maybe you get something. I did not think that would be possible a year ago. So now I need it to work. I need it to end in something. Let's prove it here. Let's beat Canada, but I need it to happen, because if not, then this Mexico side is no better than a year ago.
Well, here's what I have to see for this team is tough, because it hasn't been seen at club level, honestly. Yes, all these offensive players are going off the way I highlighted. But you're right. I think the identity that we're seeing be built from Mexico is a defensive one first, bro. It's a big part for why I think Aguirre actually got hired. It wasn't for his experience with Mexico prior. It's the fact that he's a more defensive-minded coach, and he's very good at becoming compact and then countering or sending long balls up top and having that clinical finisher up there for you to get that 1-0 result. That's where I get questionable for Mexico is, do we have clinical international finishers?
Yeah.
Santi hasn't been that for us, man. Raul Jimenez, on and off. But at club level, he's great right now. And the wingers are erratic, man. Like, despite how good they're doing, they are erratic. And I think that's what scares me the most. That's what I'm most worried about, is seeing if we have that clinical factor, because I do believe the defense will show up for us. I have no doubt about that, because we've seen that already. But I wish that we had a stronger midfield to help support that defense and also to facilitate the offense. Because we don't, I think we're going to end up seeing a Mexican side that doesn't generate a lot of opportunities and ends up relying on 1 or 2 chances throughout every match in the hopes of knocking those in to win the game. I just don't know if I can trust these guys right now to do that. That's my worry, especially against a Canadian team that I think will possess the ball more against us and will be generating a lot of opportunities more constantly.
Oh, yeah. Again, on paper, Canada's the better side, and they'll probably win it, but Mexico have to do something to turn the tide. This is the opportunity. We don't get that many, CONCACAF in general, do not get that many competitive matches. Mexico have to prove that they're on par with Canada and the USA. They've been building slowly, starting with the Copa America and then with Aguirre coming in. Let's continue building. That's what I'm saying is they're not there yet. I'm hoping they will be, but it has to start somewhere.
No, but you're right. But you're right. If we do end up winning this game, what that does for us is like don't make me envision that. All right?
Well, let's wait a couple
trying
days.
to be
We'll get
for
there.
the first time I'm trying to be pessimistic about this team. Because if you watch this show, I've been the most optimistic dude. But don't make me imagine things, man. Because if we win this game, that means something new for the Mexican national
It means something
team, man.
new.
It means something new.
Exactly.
Don't point at me like that, man.
It's right there. It's right there.
I think
the game will be tight.
I need to see it.
You do need to see it. You know what's crazy though is if you're a Mexican midfielder playing in Liga MX, play your goddamn heart out because the midfield positions are wide open. There's a sign on every single club that says Mexico looking for midfielders, and no one's making it, man.
No one, man.
Like we just end up calling the same guys: Chavez, Romo, Charlie Rodriguez, and while they do fill the role as best as they can, I just wish someone would just play as good as they could. And I'd be trying crazy.
That's
things.
what I'm saying.
I'd be trying like through balls out my ass,
Dude,
man.
fuck it if they don't work, man. For me, it's the style. It's the style. Like, there should be. Just imagine you're Brazilian for 90 minutes every weekend and just go off. Try your best. Send the craziest passes. Be the bootleg Bruno Fernandes and just try crazy shit, man. And maybe I would love to see us call up like a creative, 18 Mexican that just cooking in Liga MX.
Just going off. And you'll be playing 3 to 5 matches in Mexico at the World Cup. You're home. The opportunity here to go off for the national team's unreal. So show up.
But that's why I'm critical, man, because even looking at the form of our midfield, it's the opposite of defense and offense.
The opposite.
Edson is not having the best year right now. Luis Chavez has got that free kick tax going for him and has been sent off to Russia.
Yeah.
And the rest, Eric Lira gained opportunity. He's just recently got into the squad.
I would say he's trends defensive. So
Luis Romo as well, trends defensive, and we know what he is. Charlie Rodriguez, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's your runner. He's your bootleg the ball. he runs hard, man. He runs hard.
It's just it's so dire right now. I can't instill my trust on a team that has a midfield like that. That's where I stand. That's why I'm going Canada, because if we talk about what it means for Mexico to win this matchup, what it means for Canada is massive, man. It's massive. The opportunity is there. You go into the final with confidence. They've been to the final before, I believe, but they got completely dominated by the U.S. I think they lost 2-0.
Yeah.
And it was so clear that the U.S. was there to win and that Canadian side was so limited. Yeah. This will be the first time, if they make it to the final, where I think they'll go into it potentially as favorites, or at the very least having the most momentum that we've ever seen them have. It's a very exciting time for the Canadians, and I think a lot of Canadians will be watching this video because they love hearing their team be talked about. It's a good time to be Canadian right now. It is. Well, is it politically? I don't know. But it's a good time in the football world. It's a good time. And I want to see it on display.
I want to see it too. So from a neutral perspective, I actually hope Canada win. My heart says I want Mexico to win so they can have a good showing at the World Cup. They need to start now. But for Canada, I'm amazed at how quickly they've turned it around, man. Because the 2022 World Cup exit was so bad that their entire squad was just shook. Mm-hmm. They were like, wait, are we even good? And it showed for like a good year. They couldn't play football anymore. Nah. And I completely counted Canada out as a team in CONCACAF. And all of a sudden, they might be the best team in CONCACAF. All of a sudden. So if they beat Mexico, you just said it, they'll have the momentum to beat the USA and prove that they are the best team in CONCACAF a year out from the World Cup, where they too will be hosting games in their home country. It's a beautiful time for them.
USA-Panama is the next semifinal matchup. Your beloved USA is back on the biggest stage since the Copa America debacle. What do you envision for your beloved U.S. squad against a Panamanian team that has changed a lot in the past year?
And I'm going to start with Panama here because I just see them as very weak going into this match. I'll start with the positives, though. You know what's great for Panama is for over 2 years now, they have been consistently the 4th best team in CONCACAF. And that is honestly hard to do for any fourth best team side because consistency just doesn't exist outside the top 3 in CONCACAF. It doesn't exist. Jamaica have tried to be that next best team. They've dramatically failed. Costa Rica was that best fourth team, but they've been really weird for the last like 4 or 5 years. But it's been Panama, man. It's been Panama who have really come to that forefront and have challenged Canada, Mexico, and the USA to try to crack that top 3. And they've been probing at it. They've been poking it.
They've been third at certain points
for 2 straight years. And here they are yet again after beating Costa Rica in the play-in to try to crack into the top 3. I think what's tough for them, though, is that they just haven't figured it out. They've had so many opportunities, Nation League appearances, Gold Cup as well, Copa America. They've tried, but at a certain point, Panama meet their ceiling and they can't break past it. And I just don't see that changing against this USA side, especially because Panama are missing Michael Murillo, the Marseille starlet. He's injured, and the Mazatlan star winger Edgar Bárcenas also injured. Those are 2 of your best players, man. Big names. 2 of your best players out. So for me, that's just too much for Panama to try and cover. So I think even if the USA don't play that well, I think they'll be able to figure it out. USA can't get complacent, but for Panama going into this, just happy to be here. See if you can get through without your star players. And just use this matchup for preparation for the World Cup, because ultimately you still want to qualify.
Absolutely. And yeah, we saw it even at the Copa America. They needed that red card for Timothy Weah to then flip the result after going down 1-0 at one point, even with that red card. I think this team should just look to make this game tight against a U.S. squad that is still figuring itself out against Pochettino. It's probably the best that they could hope for, is make it a tight game and maybe get a surprise goal. I think outside of that, I don't think I envision Panama making it past this game or being as feisty as I've seen them in past Nations League iterations. So I would say that I have them losing this matchup, and then I also would have them losing the third place game, because that's a game that happens in this tournament. USA, though.
For the USA, man, I just need to see who Poch selects. I need to see what the style is, bro, because we've only gotten that one matchup against Jamaica, 2 legs against Jamaica under Poch's reign for competitive for competitive matches, man. So I need to see, how does Poch really play where there's silverware on the line. Panama should be beatable. If we lose to Panama, man, then Poch low-key might get Diego Cocad. He might be gone, bro. If we lose to Panama again, that just cannot happen.
He will.
It can't happen. So let's say we win that game, we go to the final. Whether it's against Canada or Mexico, I just need to see how Poch sets out the 11. I need to see which center backs he pairs together, because there's so many options now. You have Tim Ream, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Austin Trusty, Chris Richards, all playing in Europe. Ream now coming in Charlotte, but all players that right now, I don't know if I could really pick who's the best center back out of those 4 guys. So I think that's a big question that Poch needs to answer. Looking at the midfield, obviously it'll be McKinney. Tyler Adams has come back to form with Bournemouth. What does his performances look like coming back to the United States? Does he even get the start, given that he hasn't played in a while for the USA? That's another question. Who's that third midfielder? Is it Musa? Is it Cardoso? Is it Tanner Tessman? Is it Gio Reyna?
No.
There's so many players that Poch could pick. I need to see what Poch's style is like under the red, white, and blue. I need to see it, because we really just haven't gotten it tested. And up top, it'll be really interesting because, dude, the no Haji Wright, no Folarin Balogun, no Ricardo Pepi. I guess it's going to be Josh Sargent.
It's Sargent time?
I guess it's going to be Sargent. So what's that going to look like?
So interesting.
Alongside Pulisic, obviously the other side should be Weah, but there's a lot of questions from a squad selection perspective that I don't know who Poch is going to pick. So for me, this is about discovering who this new USA side is under Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah, and can they make that discovery quick enough to find a formidable 11 that goes on to win the Nations League for the 4th time in a row?
Yeah.
I think that's why this is such a golden opportunity for a team like Canada, because if they meet up with the U.S. team that is still figuring itself out in that final, given the momentum and the way that they know themselves, Canada could take advantage of that potentially. It also matters to me how they play against this Panamanian team. They're clearly the weaker side against the USA squad. I want to see them at least be able to command the game and dictate the pace of it and and control it, dominate it, showcase that you do have the better players in that, regardless of the formation or who's playing, you should be able to win that game formidably, in my opinion. They announced today Cardoso's out. Cardoso's out. So,
again?
Yeah.
Damn, man.
He was injured last time, too.
He's just like Sargent. Every time there's a chance to play for the USA, they get injured.
Yeah, he's out. God. So that limits your midfield options even more now.
Okay.
So worth noting, too.
The
Sargent experience, I think, is actually one that I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I don't think we've fully seen it in a competitive setting like this. Pulisic, Sargent, and Weah.
Seriously, yeah. I'm just interested to see how Pochettino lines up these guys, man. I think there's so many different iterations he could pick from now at this point. We obviously have our core players, which is great, but I just want to see what these fringe players look like, given that these spots are up for grabs with the World Cup a year out. I need to see how we play. Let's get past Panama, and then it's going to be a hell of a final in LA against Canada or Mexico. It's going to be a great final.
And that's why I think this is important for the USA mentally. After what they went through in the summer, I think they hit a big low just for all the players and the federation. Pochettino comes in, Berhalter out. They need an upper. They need an upper now to really give hope and optimism to this team. I know winning the CONCACAF Nations League doesn't mean much, but I think for the players specifically, it would mean a lot. Even if it is the fourth win in a row at this point, it'll potentially be against the best opponent that a USA team has faced in the Nations League if it ends up being this on-fire Canadian team. Yeah. So I think there'd be a good weight to it if they end up winning this trophy.
As a fan, just as a pure fan of this USA side, my beautiful, beautiful country, I need to see passion. I need to see sweat, blood, tears. I need their hearts on their sleeves. I need Tyler Adams nearly breaking shins out there, man. I need them to be running for 90 straight minutes. That's what I want to see, because that Copa America loss was just so devastating. We didn't play our best. We didn't try our best. That's what really hurt me. So that's what I need to see from this USA side under our new boss. Let's give 110% against Panama, against the finalists. Let's prove that we still are the best, even though we're going through a shaky period. I just want to see pure passion, pure grit, pure aggression from this USA side in these two matches.
USA defeats Panama, yes.
USA defeats Panama.
Canada defeats Mexico, yes.
Yes, yes. But I'm going to be cheering for Mexico.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah.
I'm going to be cheering for Mexico, bro.
Don't make it seem like I won't be doing that.
I don't know, man.
No.
I don't know, man.
You don't know, man. What do you mean, man? Canada's winning the matchup, but I'm going to give everything to Mexico. I'm going to give them everything, bro. Canada.
How much would you say Canada beats Mexico, by the way? Were you saying like 60-40? Are you saying like 75-25? 90-10? Is that what you're saying? You're saying Mexico has a 10% chance?
Nah, it's 60-40.
Okay.
60-40.
That's where I have it.
Yeah.
60-40. I have it 60-40.
60-40. Canada versus USA final. Make your pick.
If USA gets to the final, we're winning. I don't care who we're playing. I do not care who we're playing. So if Mexico gets there, USA wins. Canada gets there, USA wins. USA's winning the final if we get there. Somehow if there's a shock win, obviously, you know.
Canada's winning. Canada's winning.
Oh, dude, that'd be insane.
Canada's winning.
That would be insane.
Yeah, that'd be great for the Canadian Federation, for the fans. It'd be beautiful. Canada's winning. It's on paper to me. I just see this as one of the best versions of Canada versus one of the most questionable of the USA. And I think Canada and Jesse Marsch specifically get a victory against the mighty USA on U.S. soil to become the first non-U.S. winners of the CONCACAF Nations League.
You know what? I wish, based off of the finalists or something, or some sort of rotation, Canada would host finals.
Oh, imagine, man.
Imagine.
That'd be nice.
Dude, especially for Canada, because there's just not a lot of Canadians in the States,
Come on, man.
They're always playing a road game.
Always.
It
would mean something to them if they win the trophy then, because they are always at a disadvantage when it comes to home stadiums.
Yeah.
And I want to see it, man. I want to see it. And
me too. I do want to see it. From a neutral perspective, to see Jesse Marsch and Canada beat the USA in a final, and they would beat Mexico along the way. God, it'd be a hell of a journey, and it'd be so deserved. It would be so deserved if they pull it off.
But if the USA defeats Canada to win their fourth straight title,
Pete,
then it just Yeah, it's
We're the Madrid
Shaq.
of CONCACAF.
Okay, I was gonna say Lakers, but all right. Yeah, it means that even when there is an opponent that we deem as potentially worthy, the USA, even at their most questionable, can still win this mini tournament.
Exactly.
And take of that what you will. Take that what you will. That's how I'm gonna end that, folks. Let us know, who do you have winning the CONCACAF Nations League? I think that's all I gotta talk about today, man.
I think so.
I think we caught up on all the major stuff.
I think so.
Guys, let us know down below if we missed any big storylines, any big headlines in the past month. We are back, and we'll be back covering international football this week, starting with the CONCACAF Nations League. Till next time, peace.